The Wonkblog spends much of its time spotting the best charts and graphs, and they've compiled the top charts of 2012. And Dylan Matthews, loyal Wonkblogger, joins us to discuss. Good to see you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you as well.
Okay, we've got 5 fascinating charts. This first one, this is debt to GDP, and we have to explain current law versus current policy. The fiscal cliff, that's current law. We have all these tax changes and spending changes. Boom, we cut deficit, probably go into recession. Or current policy, we see the debt skyrocketing. So then what's all this in the middle?
So in the middle are the offers that have been made so far in the debt ceiling or the fiscal cliff negotiations. The GOP offers, as you could expect, are a bit more aggressive, but they're all roughly within the same band, and they all sacrifice short-term deficit reduction for doing more in the long run. And all of them do a lot less than if we just go with the law as written.
Okay, now chart 2, politics, and it kind of shows how Obama or where Obama won the election.
So this is comparing cities versus rural areas, basically. This is really rural regions, these are more suburbs, and these are highly populated cities. And Obama really broke away in cities and racked up the numbers there, which counts, it's where the people are. And Romney had a pretty consistent lead in more rural and ex-urban areas.
Yeah, but Obama below 45% until you get to the dense areas. Interesting. Chart number 3, what do we got? Oh, this is income inequality.
Income and wealth inequality, yeah. So this shows debt accumulated by different income classes. And what it shows is that the bottom 95% of the income distribution is much more in debt via mortgages, credit cards, whatever, than the top 5%. And this helps explain why inequality hasn't become as noticeable until recently. That if people are borrowing a lot of money and spending off of that, even if they're not making that much, it can feel like they're still living a pretty good lifestyle. And then that all came to an end in 2008.
Right, this chart ends in 2007, so some of these trends may have changed for a ton of different reasons. And then chart 4, it relates to income inequality because this shows the value of a high-performing teacher. How did they figure this out?
So this is based on a randomized study that was done in the late 70s, early 1980s in Tennessee, and it's been analyzed by Raj Chetty, who's a whip-smart economist at Harvard. And what they found was that teachers who measured as high performing on what's called value-added metrics, that those are worth about close to $200,000 in lifetime earnings for their students. So if you get a good teacher in kindergarten, it really pays off later in life, and you're likelier to own a home, you're likelier to have graduated from college, all kinds of outcomes.
Okay, final fascinating chart, and this is kind of a downer. What's it tell us?
So this tells us our contribution to climate change and what our contribution could be going forward. So this is how much CO2 was in the air in 1750. That's before the Industrial Revolution, before we started pumping stuff. This is how much we put in already. But what's really dangerous is if we go up here, and we're going to start putting out emissions faster and faster as China and India start developing.
And this is how much fossil fuel is supposedly still in the earth. So we could burn all this and go way past this line.
Way past then. And if we get to 2 degrees Celsius of warming, that's going to start a feedback loop by melting some areas that have frozen CO2. And that could mean that we're at a point of no return. I don't even know what the world would look like then. We could be looking at Venus.
Okay, and obviously the question is whether we burn it and whether we burn it in the way we are now, because if we don't, then perhaps we could have a better outcome.
And whether we find alternatives, yeah.
Cool. Dylan, thanks a lot. Fun stuff.
Anytime.
See you in 2013.
I suppose so.
That'll do it for us for tonight. We'll fold things up. See you back here tomorrow. Good night.